Hello everyone and welcome back to this great series here. We're doing 30 different things on designing your life. And this is actually, congratulations, this is my 100th broadcast. Woohoo! Essentially, the reason why, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for following this. Any of you that are calling in here, replay, just mention in your comments where you're calling in from. Those of you that are joining live here very soon, actually, I don't have those people on. This is maybe not the best time of the day to go on live, as many of you are probably either at work or very busy and so on. But I have a very, very busy schedule today, so I just wanted to pop on here and say a couple things. Hey, Daniel, what's going on? Woo! So all of you, just write in your comments there where you're calling in from. Be amazing. Just always love your comments and all your hearts and likes is always welcome. But just very quickly, Design Your Life is a series that I am doing, which is all about how you can make 2017 way better in 2016, but also how you can really take on different principles and apply them to your life so that you can design your life. And this is something that I'm very, very fortunate. I was working very, very hard on a business for 7 years of my life to then be able to have the freedom that we've had over the last 5 years, been able to travel the world and live in different places. And right now we're living in sunny Valencia. It's about 20 degrees and sunny here right now, so not too shabby for early February. Scotland probably has about similar weather there. Usually you guys have about 30 degrees around this time of the year, but yeah, very rainy Scotland. And essentially, how can you design a life where you choose really where you want to live, where you want to travel to, and all the fun things that you want to focus on. And my topic today is actually related to this morning. We went to see, we actually took our little daughter Adela to one of the schools here to do a test to see if she can get into school and there, whatever. And I think all they wanted to make sure was that she could maybe like read a few letters and count and whatever else, right? I'm sure the entrance exams for the first year of school is not too tough, but and also that she spoke English. But what I wanted to discuss today was a little bit this whole thing of look, like, having all this money is not something that's just going to make you be all this super happy, but it's going to give you certain choices. And one of those choices for us has been being able to move to a place in the world where we're living in a great climate. We get to enjoy great food. And for us, it's how can we find a place where our kids are going to be happy growing up, right? And I was very fortunate that my parents moved to Luxembourg when I was young and put me in an international school. And one of the things that I really didn't understand growing up in this school, but that I've taken a lot from afterwards, is that I was in this international school. It was very, very expensive. But all the kids in the school were pretty much kids of parents that had been very successful, that had either become CEOs of big companies or done really, really well, because the only way they were going to be in the school was if their companies were paying for that school or if they had really wealthy parents. And what happens when you surround yourself with kids like that is that they probably take on a lot of principles and values of parents that are successful and that have a really, big work ethic. They think a little bit bigger. They probably travel the world and so on. And that to me was worth so much because I got this kind of worldly view and I wanted to see more of the world. I wanted to meet more people. And I never got this kind of materialistic thing, because that's the thing what all these kids, it's not about like them driving the fancy cars and whatever else. It's more about how can you really explore the world and learn a lot from each other. And that's what I want my kids to have as well. And it was interesting. We met this couple the other day, a lovely couple, but they kind of said like, oh, look, the one school that we're really looking at here, which is probably the most expensive school in Valencia, is there's a lot of snobby kids, because their parents are these big shots and whatever else. And to me, it's like, that's not necessarily a bad thing that my kids hang out with these other children where their parents are very, very successful, right? Because they've probably taken on the values and the ethics and whatever else of people that have become successful in life through different ways. And so for me, it's just like, how can I give my children the same opportunity to surround themselves with other kids that are high achievers, that want to get to university and so on. And even though I'm in a business now where education doesn't matter at all, and what I actually love is seeing people that are just amazing at this business, that are dyslexic and all kinds of things, I do still feel that I want to give my kids the opportunity to get an education. I still think that's great, and be able to not just be able just to learn how to read and write, but be able to really get a worldly view and so on. So and another thing for me is how can I also get these, my kids to understand that it's not about like having lots of materialistic possessions and so on, but it's more about how can I take them around the world. And one of the things that we do is I have a savings account that is especially to take my kids around the world and do what we call volunteer tourism. And I've shared this live earlier, but my wife went off to save turtles, and we've done a few other different things where you travel somewhere in the world and you help out in that local community, right? And so for me, it's about how can I give them more of this worldly view, and I believe they will learn a lot more doing that than anything else. Actually, I spoke to a guy the other day, and what he said was that when he was fairly young, or maybe in their teenage years, their parents actually took a full year out, and they took them out of school and just traveled the entire world. I think they went to something like 50, 60 countries around the world within a year, which I think is pretty cool. And so they felt like they were going to learn more that way than being in school for a year, which I highly, highly agree. So, but that's the choices that money can give you, right? And it's not just how can I work really, really hard in a corporate job where I've got to be there all the time, right? How can you create this passive income, this leveraged income, where you can live this laptop lifestyle, where you can really travel the world and kind of tap into your work wherever you are, right? And also, you can actually take a huge break from whatever you're doing, and you come back and it's still there, or it's even bigger than when you left it. And that's essentially what happened to me when 5 years ago, my wife and I, we traveled. I think in 1 year I went to something like Brazil, Thailand, US 3 times, about 12, 13 different countries in Europe. And so we did a lot of travel, and we had a lot of fun. Dubai, and in that time when we were just traveling, because of what I built up previously to that, it continued to grow, right? And so are you in a vehicle that allows you to do that? Are you in a vehicle, business vehicle that generates money for you, that allows you to just take all this time off after you've built something up? So it's not like, get started today, and then in 2 weeks' time, let's take a holiday, right? Actually, I love the story of one of my business partners, Nicholas. He actually came down to Spain. It was like, he just got started in this business, and he was so excited about it. He took a holiday and went to Spain with us, and it was so funny. I just love that. He just knew he was going to have success, right? He was so excited about it. And that's another thing, is like to have that certainty, to know that you're going to be successful with whatever you're doing. So I'm going to keep it short here today because I've got tons of stuff to do. We do have confirmation for South Africa for any of you that are building down there for a Cape Town event in March. So that's going to be really, really exciting. But have an amazing, amazing weekend, everybody. And I look forward to seeing all of you back on this live here very, very soon. Cheers.